My child, you may not know me, but I know everything about you. Psalms 139:1. I know when you sit down and when you rise up. Psalms 139:2. I am familiar with all your ways. Psalms 139:3. Even the very hairs on your head are numbered. Matthew 10:29. For you are made in my image. Genesis 1:27. In me you live and move and have your being. Acts 17:28. For you are my offspring. Acts 17:28. I knew you even before you were conceived. Jeremiah 4:1. I chose you when I planned creation. Ephesians 1:11. You were not a mistake, for all your days are written in my book. Psalms 139:15. I determined the exact time of your birth and where you would live. Acts 17:26. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalms 139:14. I knit you together in your mother's womb. Psalms 139:1. And brought you forth on the day you were born. Psalm 71:6. I have been misrepresented by those who don't know me. John 8:41. I am not distant and angry, but am the complete expression of love. 1 John 4:16. And it's my desire to lavish my love on you. 1 John 3:1. Simply because you are my child and I am your father. 1 John 3:1. I offer you more than your earthly father ever could. Matthew 7:11. For I am the perfect Father, Matthew 5:48. Every good gift that you receive comes from my hand, James 1:17. For I am your provider and I meet all your needs, Matthew 6:31. My plan for your future has always been filled with hope, Jeremiah 29:11. Because I love you with an everlasting love, Jeremiah 31:3. My thoughts toward you are countless as the sand on the seashore, Psalms 139:17. They cannot be measured. And I rejoice over you with singing, Zephaniah 3:17. I will never stop doing good to you, Jeremiah 32:40. For you are my treasured possession, Exodus 19:5. I desire to establish you with all my heart and all my soul, Jeremiah 32:41. And I want to show you great and marvelous things, Jeremiah 33:3. If you seek me with all your heart, you will find me, Deuteronomy 4:29. Delight in me and I will give you the desires of your heart, Psalms 37:4. For it is I who gave you those desires. Philippians 2:13. I am able to do more for you than you could possibly imagine. Ephesians 3:20. For I am your greatest encourager. 2 Thessalonians 2:16. I am also the Father who comforts you in all your troubles. 2 Corinthians 1:3. When you are brokenhearted, I am close to you. Psalms 34:18. As a shepherd carries a lamb, I have carried you close to my heart. Isaiah 40:11. One day I will wipe away every tear from your eyes. Revelations 21:3. And I will take away all the pain you have ever suffered on this earth. Revelations 21:3. I am your Father, and I love you even as I love my Son, Yeshua. John 17:23. For in him my love for you is revealed, explained, and portrayed. John 17:26. Exemplified. He is the exact representation of my being, Hebrews 1:3. He came to demonstrate this, that I am for you and not against you, Romans 8:31. And to tell you that I am not counting your sins, 2 Corinthians 5:18. Yeshua died so that you and I could be reconciled together, 2 Corinthians 5:18. His death was the ultimate expression of my love for you. Why can you not see this? 1 John 4:10. I gave up everything I loved that I might have your love. Romans 8:32. If you receive the gift of my Son Yeshua, you receive me. 1 John 2:23. And nothing can ever separate you from my love again. Romans 8:38. Come home and I will throw the biggest party heaven has ever seen. Luke 15:7. I have always been Father and I will always be Father. Ephesians 3:14. My question is, will you be my child? John 1:12. I am waiting for you. Luke 15:11. Love your dad, Almighty God. God, being God, assumed that a beautiful copy would never be produced apart from a beautiful pattern, and that no object of perception would be faultless, which was not made in the likeness of an original, discerned only by the intellect. So when he willed to create this visible world, he first fully formed the intelligible world, in order that he might have the use of a pattern wholly godlike and incorporeal in producing the material world as a later creation, the very image of an earlier, to embrace in itself objects of perception, or as many kinds as the other contained objects of intelligence, the corporeal soul and spirit coming together in awareness. The psalmist pleaded, "Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean." Isaiah looked forward to the time when the Lord has washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion and cleaned the bloodstains of Jerusalem from its midst by a spirit of judgment and the spirit of burning. Let go of your preoccupations and expectations. Enoch describes the book about the motion of the heavenly luminaries by the angel Uriel. The first law of the luminaries, the sun has its emergence through the heavenly gates in the east and its setting through the western gates of the sky. 6 gates which the sun emerges and 6 gates through which the sun sets. The moon rises and sets in those gates, and the leaders of the stars with the ones they lead, 6 in the east and 6 in the west, all of them one directly after another. There were many windows on the right and left of those gates, exemplified in the earthly temple gate that Yeshua will return to, that his spirit left out of. Women who sew magic beads and bands upon wrists to make veils for the heads of persons of every stature in the hunt for souls, in the book of Exodus, singles out the sorceress as a danger. Post-biblical Jewish magic was developed by male practitioners, and their actions could be treated pious if carried out in the right spirit. We have seen the power of Honi, the circle maker, to bring rain. Early rabbinic sources attribute similar miracles to the pious Hanayadosa. Moses' staff turned to a snake, trumping the lying signs and wonders of the Pharaoh's magicians. So we have to be careful what we curse, what we bless, what we perceive as a cult, and what comes from God's display of his sovereign power, working through his people. God enabled people to learn the techniques against demons for the benefit and healing of humans. He composed incantations by which illnesses were relieved and left behind exorcist practices with which those binding demons expel them so that they return no more. The same form of healing remains quite strong, for I became acquainted with Eleazar, who in the presence of Vespasian and his sons, along with their tribunes and a crowd of soldiers, delivered those possessed by demons. Many fevers were relieved, many healings happened in the people of Israel amongst the Midianite magicians like Aod, who worked his magic tricks and then deceived the people of Israel. Then God said, I'll deliver them into the hands of the Midianites because they had been deceived by them, because they couldn't discern the difference between what was occult practice and what was his healing. So the links between prayer and medicine and magic were thin back then. And Solomon recited healing incantations that are still used today to exorcise demons because of what God showed him. God also did extraordinary miracles through Paul, so that when the handkerchiefs or aprons that had touched skin were brought to the sick and their diseases left them and evil spirits came out of them. Then itinerant Jewish exorcists tried to use the name of the Lord over those who had evil spirits and said, I adjure you by Jesus whom Paul proclaims, 7 sons of a Jewish high priest named Sceva were doing this. The evil spirit said to them, Jesus I know and Paul I know, but who are you? Then the man with the evil spirit leapt on them, mastered them all, and overpowered them, that they fled out of the house naked and wounded. These evil spirits are envisaged in text, in Qumran text, as the sons of darkness, the sons of Belial against the sons of light, and in the last days, reaching their full culmination according to the war scroll that was composed in the 1st century, came out of the first church period. And these sages said premonitions about World War III. In 3 lots shall the sons of light brace themselves in battle to strike down iniquity, and in 3 lots shall Belial brace itself to thrust back the company of God. Belial, the leader of the spirits of the angels of destruction. It's also written in the book of Jubilees. During the 3rd week of this Jubilee, impure demons began to mislead Noah's grandchildren, to make them act foolishly and to destroy them. The Noah's sons came to their father Noah and told him about the demons who were misleading, blinding, and killing his grandchildren. He prayed before the Lord, and God said, God of the spirits which are in all animate beings. Or Noah said this, because your mercy for me has been large, and your kindness to me has been great. May your mercy be lifted over the children of your children, and may the wicked spirits not rule them in order to destroy them from the earth. You know how your watchers, the fathers of these spirits, have acted during my lifetime. As for these spirits who have remained alive, imprison them and hold them captive in the place of judgment. May they not cause destruction among your servants' sons, my God, for they are savage and were created for the purpose of destroying. Josephus observed, lamenting the failure of the Jews to recognize the divine signs, warning of disastrous destruction of the temple. If they didn't change their ways, reflecting on these things, one will find that God has a care for them, and by all kinds of premonitory signs shows his people the way to salvation. For wisdom is more mobile than any motion. Because her pureness, she pervades and penetrates all things. She is a breath of the power of God, a pure emanation of the glory of the Almighty. Nothing defiled gains entrance into her, for she's a reflection of eternal light, a spotless mirror of the working of God, an image of his goodness. She reaches mighty from one end of the earth to another and orders all things well. I loved her and sought her from my youth. I desired to take her for my bride and became enamored of her beauty. She glorifies her noble birth by living with God, and the Lord of all loves her, for she is an initiate in the knowledge of God and an associate in his works. When Belial girds himself to come to the aid of the sons of darkness, and when the slain among the foot soldiers begin to fall by the mysteries of God, and when all the men appointed for battle are put to ordeal by them, the priest shall sound the trumpets of summons for another formation of the reserve to advance into battle, and they shall take up their stand between the formations, and those engaged shall sound the retreat. The high priest shall draw near, and standing before the formation, strengthen by the power of God their hearts and hands in his battle. This is the day appointed by him for the defeat and overthrow of the prince of the kingdom of wickedness, and he'll send eternal succor to the company of his redeemed by the might of the princely angel of the kingdom of Michael. With everlasting light he will enlighten with joy the children of Israel. He will raise up the kingdom of Michael in the midst of the gods, and the realm of Israel in the midst of all flesh. From righteousness shall rejoice on high, and all the children of his truth shall jubilate in eternal knowledge. You, the sons of his covenant, be strong in the ordeal of God. His mysteries shall uphold you until he moves his hand for his trials to come to an end. He shall lead all of them in equity, and there shall be no arrogance among them, that any one of them should be oppressed. This is the majesty of the King of Israel.